Hey everyone, have you ever wondered how the watering needs of bonsai trees change throughout the seasons? Well, today's the day we dive into that. Stick around as we delve into the beautiful world of bonsai in autumn, winter, spring, summer and even August as we are right in it. I was inspired to make this video as I received many emails, WhatsApp messages and text messages with photos of people's bonsai trees with questions: how do I water my bonsai tree? What am I doing wrong with my watering? How frequently do I water my tree? And when to water a bonsai tree? What is the right way to water a bonsai tree? And different variations, but the theme was the same as watering of a bonsai tree the right way. In July and August, I had to deal with many customers' trees and many trees of non-customers where the trees had been underwatered. These 4 trees have arrived within the last 7 days, and the story with the Dawn Redwood group planting is that it was watered in the evening and the following day it wasn't watered until evening again, and the temperature had shot up to 35 centigrade. It should have been watered again in the morning and it wasn't, so there was a gap of 24 hours, and this is what happened. This is a Carmona, an indoor Chinese import, and this was kept very close to the window, and again it got very hot, wasn't watered enough, and also it's in the wrong soil. It's been repotted, but it's in compost as opposed to bonsai soil, and been defoliated. The trunk is green, the bark was scraped, so it is alive, but the main problem is the drying out of the compost, and we're getting there slowly. I hope we can turn this round. These 2 are Chinese elms, again kept indoors, very close to the window, and the same fate was suffered by these 2 trees as the Carmona. And these will be defoliated. The trunks have been checked with a sharp knife. The trunks are green. There is hope for these 2 trees yet. We're now at the tail end of August, and it's starting to get cooler, and your bonsai will need less watering. So it would be time to ease off from the July and August watering regime. The leaves will soon start to change color and drop off, so it is crucial to monitor the moisture levels in the soil. Moving on to winter, this is a time for dormancy. Your bonsai will be barely growing, so you will want to water it even less. The bonsai pots have a limited amount of soil, and the size also varies, and irrespective of that, the moisture is lost from the soil to the air and also the heat of the sun, and dependent on how windy and how warm it is, the frequency of watering will vary. And the best way is to check with your finger, ensuring that it's barely moist before you water again. I have chosen 7 very small trees in tiny pots to share with you. Firstly, we have a trident maple, and it's in a very small pot. Next to it is a Chinese elm. This has been grown from a cutting in a pretty little pot. And next to it is a sort of juniper. The trident maple and the juniper was sent to me by Rob Fallon from Scotland. Rob, if you're watching, thanks again. And next to it is a Chinese elm, again grown from a cutting. And next to it is sedum with flowers. These are cuttings from the main mother tree. Next to the sedum is a trident maple, and this one I'm not quite sure what this is. I started this from a little seedling about 12-13 years ago, and it's suffered with wire marks, but that's another matter. But the pots in all the cases are quite small. As you can see, this one is quite small, this one is quite small, and this is an amazing tree, and unless they are looked after and they are watered properly, they would end up dead. So watering is one of the most important aspects of bonsai keeping. There is one technique which is a bonus technique which I will reveal towards the end of the video, so stick around until then. I'm now going to show you how to water the bonsai trees correctly. So if you use the watering cans, this is a small one but fair amount of water, and the tree is in proper bonsai soil and the drainage is very good, so you can't overwater. As you can see, it's already starting to run, but we have to water right around the pot to make sure that the tree roots are thoroughly drenched in water and the soil is completely drenched, and there's no part of this soil which has not received water. Well, I think that's enough for now. As you can see, the water is escaping from the drainage holes and out. And that is how you water bonsai trees the right way. This ficus suffered the same fate as the ficus I've shown in a previous video a few weeks ago. And this also has been regrown from zero. All the foliage is new, all the old branches were removed because they died. And for this I have a larger watering can, and again it should be watered all the way around. And although it's rained a little, I have brought these trees out, and the growth is much stronger outside, and then as the temperature falls, the ficus trees go back in. And so that's how you water it, very gently all the way around until it starts to drain from the drainage holes. There is one more bonus technique to water, and that I will reveal just before the end of the video, so stick around for that. A beech group planting is quite a large planting, so trees this size I tend to water with this watering hose and a spray, and thoroughly drench it, and then also go away to other trees, water them, and then come back again. And there's a Nagasaki crabapple behind that, and there's Misojo maples and big Chinese elm. And then I'm going to come back to where I started, which is the beech group. This is the Japanese Zelkova group, and next to it is a ginkgo, and next is a lime, Chinese elm, and this is an English elm, and I'll try and put a link in the video for this tree. This was air layered, and this is the top part. It's quite a thick trunk, if you can see, yeah, it will be interesting for you to see. Now, that was a juicy part where I showed you the correct watering technique, not only for this time of the year, but it applies to throughout the year, different seasons. You only have to vary the frequency dependent on the season, and check with your finger soil if it's barely moist, would be the time to water. As a reminder, make sure that your bonsai pot is in good condition and the tree has been repotted within the last 2 years. That's for deciduous trees, and pines and junipers require repotting every 10 years, so they are fine. But ensure that the soil is good drainage soil. Now, the techniques I've shown you apply throughout the year. The frequency will vary. When you water, you want to continue watering until you see the water coming out of the drainage holes at the bottom, and make sure that you have thoroughly watered the bonsai soil and it is thoroughly drenched at the time of watering. Thoroughly drenching the bonsai soil with water until it runs clear from the drainage hole ensures that the roots of the bonsai tree are thoroughly soaked. And remember that the idea is to keep the tree healthy, and the way to do that is to ensure that the soil is barely moist. Water again, and in between watering, the soil should not be soggy but should be drying out. Remember, we are trying to keep the soil evenly moist, and check with your finger an inch below the surface, and if it's barely moist, it's time to water again. And to wrap up, here's what we have learnt. In autumn, as it starts to get cooler, dial back your water. In winter, even less is more. Spring is your time to ramp it up again. And in summer, be ready to adapt to the heat. Adapting your watering routine to the season is crucial for keeping your bonsai happy and healthy. It's all about balance and observation. As we conclude, remember to keep an eye on those seasonal changes. But bonsai's watering needs will shift. So being proactive will make a huge difference. By following these tips, you will be well on your way to becoming a bonsai watering pro. Now for the final watering tip. This is a Chinese elm and it is root bound. It is still in the original pot that it was imported in. It still has the original soil, which is not bonsai soil but farm soil with a little bit of sand thrown in. If you look at the bottom of the pot, there are no meshes, no wires, and the tree can come out quite easily. Best way to water a root-bound tree is by dunking it. So here I have filled up this bowl of water, and I'm now going to dunk the tree right into the water, and you'll see the air bubbles coming. And when the air bubbles stop, that means the soil is fully saturated with water. The bubbles are still coming, although not so fast as before, but there's still the odd bubbles, so we leave it until there are no more air bubbles. The best way to water a tree that is root bound until it is repotted the following spring. And we can take the tree out and let the excess water drain off. A lot of retailers selling bonsai trees do not brief the purchasers about watering or repotting, and majority of the purchasers are new and buying these trees on impulse, and they get into a lot of trouble with watering. But this is the proper way, and if you are told to dunk your tree when watering, then that is a sure indication that the tree is root bound and it needs repotting. So if you are new and you have such a tree, then I would recommend that you have a bonsai lesson or go to a bonsai club near you and learn how to look after your tree properly. I would love to hear about your bonsai experiences. Drop me a comment below to let me know how you care about your bonsais throughout the seasons. Don't forget to check out my other videos for awesome bonsai care tips. Thank you for watching. This is Iqbal Khan for mikbonsai in West London. Until the next time. And now for the afterthought. There was this yacht sailing off the coast of Germany, and it got into trouble. The skipper went on the radio, panicking and shouting, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday, we are sinking, we are sinking, anyone there? Mayday, Mayday." And a young German Coast Guard officer had just finished his training, and this was his first shift. And he responds, "This is the German Coast Guard. How may we assist you?" And the yacht skipper carries on saying, "Mayday, Mayday, we are sinking, we are sinking." And the German officer responds, "What are you thinking?" Do you dig?